Okay, thank you, and welcome. I'd like to call the Operations Committee meeting of the County of Renfrew for Tuesday, November 12th to order. As we gather here today, we acknowledge on behalf of the County of Renfrew and our community that we're meeting on the traditional territory of the Omama Wenini Algonquin people. We thank the Omama Wenini people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous peoples who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Has roll call been taken, Evelyn?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and we have quorum.
Thank you for that. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Any items before us this afternoon? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for the adoption of the minutes of our October 15th meeting. Moved by Councillor Proctor, seconded by Councillor Lynch. Any comments or questions? All those in favor? And those are carried, adopted. Delegations, I will turn this over to Mr. Perkins to introduce our guests.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Committee. This afternoon, Mr. Robert Norris, who's the past president of the Round Lake Property Owners Association, is just going to give us a brief outline of what his association is doing for the Round Lake community.
Okay, thank you for that. And we have the microphone up here at the podium.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you again today. I won't take a lot of your time. I was here, as you probably remember, in 2023, April 2023 actually, to talk about or to discuss the paving of the shoulder on County Road 58 between the Sherwood River and Bonnechere River. And at that time we talked about as a walking, running, cycling community, including those people that visit Round Lake. We were very thankful to Renfrew County Council that took your approval of this project after that meeting and approved the funding for it for 2023, and in fact completed it in July 2023. So I want to thank this committee for making that recommendation. We'd also like to thank Lee Perkins and his staff for the refurbishing of the Traymore Bridge this past summer and fall. We are well aware that Renfrew County Council has enormous financial pressures on you to look at the needs of our making sure that the needs of the community at large are looked after, and approving that the projects throughout the community is really important. And we're quite aware of the very, very large county that you have to look after, and so by making sure that different pockets of the community get serviced for those kinds of infrastructure projects is really important. That being said, I'm here today again to encourage you to recommend to Council for your 2025 budget that you pave the shoulder County Road 58 between the Bonnechere River and Foy Park corridor. And I want to thank you again for the opportunity to speak to the council or this committee on behalf of the Round Lake Property Owners Association, and I trust you will once again recommend funding for completion of this valuable community project. This will add a small but safe 29-kilometer Renfrew County cycling loop to its active transportation infrastructure. I want to again thank you, this committee, for taking time to listen to me today.
Very good, thank you very much. Any questions from members of the committee? And anything staff would like to add?
Through you, Chair, if I may. The section identified for County Road 58 for the next section to be worked on is scheduled for 2026. At that time, no active transportation or hardened shoulders would be applied.
Oh, I thought it was 2025. I'm sorry. I would have, I'm ahead of the game here.
Yep. Well,
okay.
certainly good for planning, and just so you know that is our policy now, that we do harden the shoulders.
Yeah, I'd heard that, that you were working on that, so.
Yep.
Again, thank you. I'm sorry, I thought it was the 2025 budget, but anyway, I wanted to leave as past president, or actually I wanted to visit you before as president, and then our new acting president wasn't able to come, so I wanted to, as I told you before, I'd been working on this project with Steve Bullen going back to 2014, so it's something I've been really pleased that this committee recommended that next section and that it's in the budget for 2026. Thank you, so appreciate your time.
Great, thank you very much. And we shall continue on. We'll go to the Public Works and Engineering Department report and the Director's report. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and through you to committee. Item 1, of course, is the Treasurer's report, and that's attached for your information. Monthly project status report is attached as well for your information, and specific information is provided in the divisional reports. Capital program variance report is, of course, attached as well, and will be discussed in Taylor's section when he gets to it. Item 4 is rural transit within the County of Renfrew. So staff are currently applying for a grant from Infrastructure Canada to fund a transit demand and feasibility study. The Rural Transit Solutions Fund offers grants for planning project submissions. With the application deadline set for November 28th, 2024, staff will update the committee once a decision is received from Infrastructure Canada. Preliminary discussions have begun with local service provider regarding a potential pilot project in a small geographical area. Should an agreement in principle be reached, staff will return to committee for further direction prior to any funds being spent. County staff have also been recently made aware of an active request for proposals for a transit system operator in the city of Pembroke, as well as a presentation to several municipalities by private transportation operators. We will be monitoring the progress of both proposals to determine partnership abilities. Item 5 is canoe procurement. So committee requested that staff provide a brief overview of the new canoe procurement process that the County of Renfrew is currently employing in an effort to find potential efficiencies and cost savings. So currently the operations division utilizes 2 tendering methods of purchasing, canoe and electronic bids and tenders. And a summary of the items purchased in 2023-2024 is provided below. So both programs have significantly improved the procurement process. Using electronic bids and tenders greatly enhances efficiency for the Public Works Department. It automates most of the procurement processes, cutting down on time needed to tender preparation, distribution, and response collection, allowing staff to focus more on the core project tasks. By centralizing documents, communication, and submissions, electronic bidding keeps the entire process organized and minimizes the need for manual tracking or filing. It also enables a broad vendor reach, increasing competition and often leading to more competitive pricing, which can yield cost savings. The system reduces errors and improves accuracy in bid evaluations and document handling, ensuring that bids are processed efficiently and without the common issue found in manual systems. Electronic bids and tenders also enhance transparency as they track all actions and communications, supporting compliance with regulatory requirements and making audits simpler. So real-time updates allow vendors and the department's staff to track bid status, communicate quickly and respond to inquiries of electronic bidding systems, saves time, increases accuracy, and ensures compliance, allowing public works departments to manage resource more effectively and focus on high-priority projects. The canoe procurement program provides several benefits for the county. It enables cost savings by leveraging group purchasing power, securing bulk discounts, and offering lower prices on commonly needed items and service. Additionally, the program enhances efficiency and saves time by simplifying the procurement process through pre-negotiated contracts that comply with the local purchasing regulations. So this reduces the need for lengthy bidding process and eases staff workloads. Canoe also grants access to qualified suppliers by connecting members with reputable vendors that meet high standards and ensure reliability products and services. So in terms, I won't read the last paragraph for you because it's, so in terms of actual cost savings, Canoe has allowed us to replace the units at regular intervals because Canoe provides generic, say we're ordering a truck plow is the best way to explain it. If we order a truck plow on bids and tenders, or we just go out to the old-fashioned tender, then what happens is a supplier bids on that truck, but it's specific to the county of Renfrew. We might ask for, a different size plow or something specific that only us would order. But Canoe offers a generic truck that will meet our needs and meets the needs of a lot of other communities as well, without having like a specified piece of equipment on that unit. So it enables us to procure that truck a lot faster because they actually have that in stock. They're not building a specific unit for a specific client. They have a generic unit. So one of the ways that it allows us to save money is we get that unit put into the fleet a lot quicker. As you'll remember, some of our trucks take 12, 15 months to deliver, whereas trucks from Canoe are 6 months. Or sorry, 6 to 8 weeks is the purchase time for a Canoe unit because it's available. So that's one of the great replacement or great savings but we're not seeing it as in terms of is the truck cheaper or more expensive. We're seeing it in terms of our maintenance on that unit is now, instead of dragging it out for 14 extra months, we're putting that truck out of service a lot quicker. So there's savings that way. Also, anecdotally, again, staff, it's a lot quicker and easier for staff to put these tenders together. But comparing apples to apples, I haven't been able to compare apples to apples. So for example, if we order a tandem axle truck on Canoe, is it cheaper than bids and tenders? Is the way bids and tender works, we can actually ask for the Canoe pricing through our electronic bids and tenders. And not that we haven't done that, it's just that the vendors bid their price. So, and normally whichever way we go is the cheapest method anyway. So it's more of a cost savings in time and effort, and again, getting the units faster. It seems to be saving our maintenance department quite a bit of money. With that, I'll leave it for resolutions.
Thank you for that. So I'll go back to item number 1, the treasurer's report. Questions? Okay, I'll start then. I'm wondering if we could get some explanation around for starters, the trail section where we're 800,000 year to date budget 1.574 million, but full year budget of $302,000. So I don't know how you reconcile these numbers, Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chair, and I will defer to Mr. Daniel Burke.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee, and good afternoon, committee. Through you, Chair, the shift has to do with the timing of the reserve transfers. So in common with most departments across the county of Renfrew, all of our reserve transfers into departments are budgeted in December. That would be our capital reserves funding our project. So we spend the whole year building the project, and in December we would transfer in our capital reserves. The Trails Department, of course, its capital reserve contribution is that it's not necessarily just capital reserves or capital purchases we're funding with capital reserves. In the Trails, we are funding our Trails, expansion or our stone dusting project, our first charge on reserve through our capital reserves. So that's why you see an operating budget and then it will drop off dramatically in December when we transfer in our capital reserves.
Okay, thank you for that. And the other one, the other one I already got the answer for. Anything further on item 1? Item 2, the monthly project status report. We'll see where we're at, and a lot of the projects have been completed. The capital variance program, where some of the items we'll see have been carried over, that will get carried over into next year, I guess. Anything? No. Item number 4, rural transit within Renfrew County, and their application for funding. And seeing none, we'll move to item 5, the canoe procurement with respect to either canoe or biz tenders. And we will move on to resolutions. Mr. Perkins.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to committee again. So item 6 is shared service winter road maintenance. So the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee directs staff to explore the options of shared winter road maintenance services, and that staff return with a complete analysis of potential opportunities.
Thank you for that. Can I get a mover and seconder for the resolution? Moved by Councillor Lynch, seconded by Councillor Watt. Comments or questions? Seeing none, Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. Way back when, we used to have 5 or 10-year agreements. Are we going that way again now?
I'll punt this off to Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and through you to Councillor Lynch. We're going to do an overall look at how we deliver our municipal services. Would it be cheaper for the local municipalities to take over snow clearing from the county? Would it be easier for the county to take over snow clearing from the lower tiers? As you know, most of our roads do intersect with a lot of local municipal roads, so we're wondering if there's an opportunity to share services on a number of different roads throughout the county. So we're just gonna go in and have a look and see what's required, because as you know, right now we pay a number of communities to do roads for us do our roads in their communities. So we're gonna dive in and have an analysis of is there an advantage to either the municipalities taking over all the roads or the local tier taking care of some of the roads that we interject with the other municipalities. Cost-benefit analysis, hopefully.
Okay. So either way, either the lower tiers could do it, or the county could do it, or a combination thereof. Okay. Anything else? Councillor Proctor.
If I may, appreciate looking in to this. Would this be impactful for this year, or would it be towards 2025 winter maintenance?
I don't think it would impact this year, but we don't move that fast. So, okay. Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. Now, where am I?
Thank you, Chair.
Item number 7.
Item 7 is establishment of the Ontario Rural Road Safety Program. The recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council support the attached Good Roads resolution.
Thank you for that. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Watt, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. You'll recall that we recommended this to County Council last month, and County Council bunted it back to us. And here we are again. So, comments or questions? Mr. Perkins. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a little background here, as the Chair alluded to, it went to County Council and came back. So the Good Roads resolution had some wording that members of Council were concerned with in terms of the actual words for clarification from the proposed resolution. So we sought clarity on the wording, and we reached out specifically to the Good Roads Group, and Mr. Butler, their executive director, got back to us, and he did forward all the supporting documentation. So it's there for you and under Ontario Road Safety Annual Report 2021. So again, if you deduce by looking through all those numbers that the majority of accidents happen either on rural roads or municipally owned roads, then inherently you could make the assumption that rural roads are more dangerous than highways and other areas of jurisdiction. So we did see clarity. We can apparently develop a brand new resolution, but this is the resolution as presented by Good Roads Group.
Thank you for that. So just to refresh everybody's memories, I think the contention was around the wording that says that whereas official stats from the government of Ontario confirm that rural roads are inherently more dangerous than other roads. And I think what was mentioned was the fact that just because, or in spite of, the fact of the statistics around the amount of roads, the length of roads, and the population, and the number of accidents, that means that that rural roads are inherently more dangerous, and I think that was the contention. So I'm open to whatever the committee wants to do with this. Anyone? Councillor Watt.
Was there not some discussion as to our roads not being up to standard as well? Some confusion there, as opposed to maybe eliminating some of the major corners or whatever changes that would be needed to those roads to make them more safe?
Yes, I recall something. Well, I mean, and it says something in here. Do you have anything on that, Mr. Perkins?
Thank you, Chair. So what the Good Roads is assuming here is that the rural roads in many communities are not as well looked after as they should be. So there's maintenance issues and stuff like that. But I can assure you, the County of Renfrew, we follow the minimum maintenance standards. Our roads are in, as you know, from our pavement condition indexes, are in good shape. I'm not saying that there's corners out there that couldn't be trimmed back a little better, but for the most part, we are well in compliance. But what the Good Roads Group is trying to do is trying to win over the Ontario government with deciphering that report a little harsh, I would say. That would be my opinion.
Sorry. So my concern is we can recommend this to County Council again and see what happens at County Council or not. Or there was a suggestion that we could write. The request is that we support the resolution that they provided. There was a conversation around can we write our own resolution? Well, we don't have that today, so anyway, Councillor Proctor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. If I understand this accurately, and some of and I pull in the debate that we had previously, the debate seemed to be fixed on a concern that our roads and our municipal roads were not to a standard, and that the road condition was the main culprit to the safety concern. If I read this content correctly, it's that it's not assigning cause to the accidents, it's merely simply acknowledging that there are more accidents and more significant injury caused on municipal roads for many reasons, but all of those reasons being put aside, they are seeking an entitlement of money to allow us to make those roads all the more secured in ways of our choosing. Am I understanding this correctly?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. If I may, as a supplemental then.
Certainly.
The resolution that we would be seeking to go forward with council would be to allow us to gain access to the entitlement that this Good Roads program is looking to find and gain benefit from that to even further improve. I'm cautious to use the word improve, but further lessen any risks on our municipally maintained roads Is that equally correct? Appreciate that.
I think that's accurate. Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate the clarification.
Councillor McKenzie. I was just looking up at the screen too.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, so I sent a note along after last meeting. The point that was made, I think, was, as Councillor Proctor said, the wording implied that rural municipalities aren't maintaining their roads properly, therefore we're having all these accidents. I don't think that's what they mean. As pointed out, it's just showing the statistics. Like I personally believe that rural roads are inherently more dangerous because, in the note that I sent along, because of weather. You know, I've got two ways of getting into Arnprior. In a snowy day, I definitely go down Flat Rapids because it's got trees on both sides. There's a bit of a windbreak. If you go down White Lake Road, you're very likely to run into snow-covered, icy, black ice situations because it's just wide open. And I'm pretty sure the statistics on White Lake Road would support that it's inherently more dangerous just because of the openness and how often it's windswept, and you can't have a plow truck going down there every hour. So there's a lot of factors that make it inherently more dangerous. I believe underfunding is one of them for sure. I think, I don't know how the rest of Ontario's doing, but I think we're doing a decent job of making sure that our roads, you know, some of them don't look pretty, but you know, they've got the potholes filled and the cracks filled. I don't think that's necessarily the problem, but if we wanted to improve the wording, you know, we could just add is inherently dangerous for many factors, which includes higher speeds, higher posted speeds, and weather, and take the focus off what I think the point was in council, that it was accusatory when you're just leaving it open like that. Be one way to improve it.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything further? Okay, so I guess if, well, depends on what the vote is, but I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. So I think it would be helpful at County Council that we have these points of view brought up also, and we'll see how it goes from there. So, okay, we should move on to item number 8.
Thank you, Chair. And item 8 is the Rural Ontario Municipals Association, or ROMA conference. And the recommendation here is that the Operations Committee recommends to County Council that delegation requests be submitted for the 2025 Rural Ontario Municipal Association Annual Conference to, number 1 was the Ministry of Infrastructure regarding the ongoing reductions in the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, or the OSIF. Item 2 is the Ministry of Transportation to address a commitment to complete the promised 22.5 kilometers of divided highway on Highway 17. And number 3 is the Ministry of Transportation regarding potential partnerships to expand and improve the Algonquin Trail, and that the chair of the standing committee, along with the warden, be designated to attend the delegation.
Can I amend number 3? No. Can I get a mover and seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Wilmer, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. Comments, questions? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. To number 1, Arnprior got $189,000 increase in the OCIF. I wonder if you're sort of beating a dead horse. If we got $10 million to the municipalities and you're asking for more?
So further to that, is the total, well, I guess the question is the total pot of money under OCIF, is it going down? Because that's the problem. If it's not, then the province is going to say, no, we're putting just as much money into it. I would agree, well, I would concur with Councillor Lynch, that the town of Deep River's OCIF went up, probably by the same percentage as the counties went down, but.
Thank you, Chair. If you don't mind, I can answer that question as well, and appreciate your last comment. And through you, respectfully, the county's lost 30% of their OCI funding over 2 years. So it may be nice that some municipalities have benefited. We have not. So we have, I think we're down about $400,000 or more over the last 2 years. So when we get responses from the province suggesting that we can fund new bridge repairs or new roads repairs out of OCIF funds that have now been depleted by 30%, our ability to fund anything out of provincial money is being depleted yearly after year.
Yeah, thank you for that. Do we know, my other point is the pot of money on OCIF, has it changed?
To you, Chair, no, we believe that, all we know is that this is this is the second year of the reduction. We understand that in the third year, next year, there's a new formula being, whatever that new formula and the mathematician that's going to develop it is there. I don't believe that they've put in a confirmation that it's going to be more, but I would suggest that an election is coming up and we'll likely see some bumps coming up for that.
Yeah, and I think it's our responsibility to be advocating for funding for the County of Renfrew. So anything further? Councillor Proctor.
If I may, while all three are wonderfully important, I would offer that number 2 is wonderfully important, especially to many of our townships. And understanding not only the commitment to that, but the time frame with that is vitally important. It was a commitment made a number of elections, a number of years. So if we were able to or asked to prioritize these, I would offer that number 2 be rise to the top, please. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And we do have some fairly extensive background documentation that I'm sure staff will update for us to present should we get a delegation. And yes, this project I think has been on the books since the 60s. So Councillor Watt.
Further to item 2, would it be fair to ask for a plan for completion of Highway 17 from Renfrew on through to Petawawa and beyond?
Be fair to ask. I'm not sure that we're going to get a commitment, but yeah, for sure.
Even some sort of a timeline?
Yep. Sure. Anything further on item number 8? Either item 8.1, 2, or 3? Any other member of the committee is more than welcome to come with us if we get any of these delegations, by the way. So seeing nothing else on that one, I will call a question. All those in favor? And that is carried. And
Thank you,
now-
Chair. That concludes the director's report. I'll be back with the operations report. Stay tuned.
Okay, then we will move on to the Capital Works Division report. Mr. Henrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 1 on the Capital Works Division report is road rationalization criteria. As part of the ongoing development of a transportation master plan for the County of Renfrew, the consultant, EGIS, completed a review of the county's road rationalization criteria, made recommendations and enhancements to that criteria, and completed a road rationalization study based on the recommended criteria. The attached memorandum by EGIS provides details on the development of the recommendations. At this time, staff is presenting the memorandum for input from the committee, as it is planned to be presented publicly as part of the next Public Information Center planned for the Transportation Master Plan, which was originally planned for near the end of November, but now has been delayed and will most likely occur in January. The proposed criterion for the road rationalization is somewhat similar to the County of Renfrew's current policy. However, some adjustments are recommended to make them more measurable and remove some redundancy. Similar to the county's current criterion, a rationalization score of at least 6 must be achieved to be considered a county road. A summary of the criteria is presented in the report, as well as in the memorandum. EGIS has completed the rationalization study and is using this criteria on all existing county roads, as well as some additional local municipal roads of interest, and determined that approximately 125 kilometers of existing county roads do not meet the rationalization threshold to remain as county roads, while approximately 18 kilometers of local municipal roads do meet rationalization to become county roads. And I'll pause there, Chair, to see if there's any questions about the information item.
Comments or questions? Fairly detailed. I guess, Councillor McKenzie.
Okay, thank you, Chair. And I found this quite interesting. 125 kilometers of existing county roads do not meet the rationalization threshold. That's out of approximately 812, is it? So it's approximately 1 out of 6 kilometers is an issue. I'm just wondering if we pass this, what are the ramifications? We're going to be past this. There's a few steps to go before it's finished and whatnot, but what are the ramifications of that?
Yeah, I guess that's up to us, but Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Councillor McKenzie. So at this time, it's being presented as information only for input and feedback. This isn't necessarily the process that would go ahead. Part of the memorandum does talk about next steps, whether if we do decide to proceed with the current rationalization criteria or the recommended rationalization criteria, that would mean that 125 kilometers of our county roads no longer meet that criteria. But how a download of sorts would happen going forward would be at the county's discretion. So it may mean that we wait until the roads are rehabilitated so that we're not downloading roads that are in poor or fair condition, or how we go about that would be at the county's discretion. At this time, the memorandum is more of, do we accept the criteria being considered? And if we are accepting of that, the ramifications of that to the county's road system.
Thank you for that. I wonder if the province could do one of these too and see if there's any of our roads that should actually be provincial highways, and they could take them back again. Because I'm sure there are some that, yes. In fact, I think some of our county roads turn into provincial highways in some places. So why it's a county road here and then this magical line it turns into a provincial highway, I'm not sure, but yeah, it was the first thing was what are the implications of moving this forward, and even if we were to accept, how do you implement it and how do you phase it in, you know, so all of those kind of concerns. Any further comments? I do not see any. Oh, sorry, Councillor McKenzie.
Yeah, so not to take away from the fact, my earlier question I'm referring to, that if this is more streamlined and staff's recommending it as more consistent with a more streamlined approach and better definitions, then I'm all in favor of it.
Sure, thank you for that. And I think, well, I mean, and it's kind of similar to one of our requests at the province for a standardized PCI across the province. If every municipality was using the exact same road rationalization assessment tool, then it levels the playing field, right? And then everything is the same, and we're comparing apples for apples, and that would make Mr. Burke's job much easier because our FIRs would all be identical for county roads at least. So anything further on this? Seeing none, we shall, where are we going? get back to my, so I think it's bylaws, but, okay. Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. Item number 2 is a bylaw. It's the structure assumption, C339 Lynch Road Culvert. And the recommendation is that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council adopt a bylaw to amend Schedule B of Bylaw 1015, being a bylaw to consolidate all bylaws with respect to roads and bridges included in the county road system, to add county structure C339 Lynch Road Culvert to the county road system effective December 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Lynch, seconded by Councillor Wilmer. Mr. Hanrath.
Thank you, Chair. Through you to committee. As committee may recall, in October of 2023, a resolution was passed to proceed with design and construction for the replacement of Lynch Road Culvert, and that it be assumed as part of the as a county structure following the replacement, in compliance with County Policy PW02 for bridges. At the time that the design was completed, it was confirmed that hydraulically the structure did have to be more than a 3-meter span, which is what's required for it to be considered as a county structure. The design was undertaken and completed, and construction for the replacement was undertaken, all of which was done by county's own staff. Our civil designer did the design, and our construction staff did the replacement.
Thank you for that. We knew this was coming back someday. Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that is carried. And now we will move on to the Operations Division report. Mr. Perkins.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and through you to committee, the operations report. Item 1 is the operational status and winter readiness. Thankfully, staff are completely ready for winter. Hopefully, we won't get any winter. Prefer to warm up as it gets colder instead. And then I'll leave it there for bylaws.
I'm glad to see that's your happy place. Comments or questions on item number 1? Seeing none, we will move on to item number 2, bylaws.
Thank you, Chair. And item 2 is PWO 2024-06, 1 3-ton truck and plow. So that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council approve contract PWO 2024-06 for 1 3-ton truck and plow as submitted by Everest Equipment, Ayers Cliff, Quebec, in the amount of $240,156 plus applicable taxes, and that County Council adopt a bylaw to execute the contract.
Thank you for that. Can I get a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Watt, seconded by Councillor McKenzie. And some background, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Background here is this was procured through Canoe procurement process for the supply and delivery of 1 3-ton plow, and 1 submission was received. So this is the vendor that has a unit ready to go and meets our needs. Unfortunately, the financial implications here is that the 2024 budget funds were only in the amount of $200,000 for this 1 3-ton truck and plow unit. We have reviewed the submission and recommend that the balance of the required funds be obtained from savings incurred from previous 2024 approved equipment purchases, and that the contract be awarded and the purchase order be issued. The procurement was processed in accordance with the County of Renfrew's corporate policy GA01, procurement of goods and services.
Thank you for that. So you see the recommendation and the background. Comments or questions? Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. With this company being out of Ontario, when we have maintenance problems, is there a local person or company that we take it to repairs, or do we have to take it back to Quebec?
Mr. Perkins.
It was a good question. I assume it would have to go back to Quebec. I can look into it further, as they are based out of Quebec. So like a number of our heavy-duty equipment trucks come from Mattawa as well. So they usually in warranty situations, they come to our shop, or they have, and not this particular group, but other groups have come to our shop to do the service work. But I'll check into it to make sure.
Anything further? I call the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. We'll move on to item number 3.
Item 3 is PWO 2016-01, and this is the supply and delivery of winter salt. So we actually have two recommendations here. Recommendation 1 is that the Operations Committee directs staff to proceed with tendering for the supply and delivery of winter salt for a 2-year contract with an addition to extend for 3 additional 1-year periods, subject to satisfactory service, price terms and conditions effective June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2025. Or that the Operations Committee recommends that County Council approve the extension of an amending agreement to contract PWO 2016-01 for the supply and delivery of bulk coarse highway salt for winter operations for 5 years from 2025 to 2030 with Windsor Salt Limited of Mississauga, Ontario, and that County Council adopt a bylaw to formalize and authorize execution of an amended agreement, and that bylaws 28, 16, and 1020 be hereby repealed.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I have a recommendation, a mover and seconder for the recommendation? Moved by Councillor Wilmer, seconded by Councillor Lynch. And some explanations.
Thank you, Chair. And the background here is, as you recall from County Council, there were some questions as to extending the contract. Once we went back in, the intent here was to actually do an extension. The contract number is PWO 2016. The contract was actually renegotiated in 2020. So we would be doing an amendment to an amended contract. It's at the council's purview if they decide to go with an amended contract, and the non-competitive purchases from our GA01 are 2022.1. So it can be under joint authority and approved by director and CAO, and awards emanating from non-competitive pricing that are greater than 100,000 requires the county council. And the responsibility of the director to determine which is in the best interest of the county. So for again, my opinion here is we go to tender, and because extending the contract for as many extensions as we've put on it, we haven't been out to market since 2016. So again, whether or not we'll get better pricing or if we'll get the same pricing remains to be seen. But our goal is to go, if committee would desire, you can amend the contract if you want, but we will go forward with a tender, and we have enough salt till this contract doesn't run out until June of next year, so we're covered for this winter. But we leave it with committee for a decision.
Okay, thank you for that. Comments, questions? Councillor McKenzie.
Thank you, Chair. This is first question's a procedural one. We've got a motion on the books, but we've got an either or, so I'm not sure which recommend. All in favor? Which one are we addressing? Or how's that working?
Feel free to talk about either one.
Okay. All right. All right. Fair enough. So just a question of clarification. This recommendation number 2, we've been dealing with them, and we've had the option to extend it, or we just start over and get a brand new tendering. I would tend to go with a brand new tendering because a lot of things have changed since COVID. Why not pre and during and after COVID pricing? And if you're looking at 5 years down the road, I completely agree. It's a good time to just retender the whole process.
Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. My same comment is Councillor McKenzie. My question was, from our past in 2016, before we signed our first contract, when we send the tenders out, how many people or companies actually tendered into it? Or were they a sole source type thing?
I don't recall the answer to that. Mr. Perkins might know.
No, sorry.
Before
Thank you,
your
Chair.
time, too.
Yeah, before my time as well. I will check into it and find out.
I don't recall. It wasn't. There was more than one. I recall that, but I don't recall how many. I would just to comment that the pricing. This is a similar practice that I've seen at lower tiers also, and this company tends to treat good customers as good customers and keeps extending and things like that. But I think, based on our policies, I think that we should be going to a competitive tender process. And I just, as a comparison, the pricing is very similar to what we've received in Deep River for a number of years too. So it's very close, actually. Anything further? So, Councillor Proctor.
Thank you. If I recall from previous minutes as well as the salt tender, with the option to extend, they were looking at a flat 3% increase year over year. Okay, so best case scenario, going to tender, which is a great way to look at competitive, they certainly are encouraged to respond, and our thought there is that we could improve upon. Because I noticed historically it wasn't 3% year over year, but going forward it was a flat 3%. Okay, thank you very much for that confirmation.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get a better price, hopefully.
Yes, thank you, Chair. And of course, the new tender would be, we would get in for 2 years, and then we had the option to extend. It's the exact same tender as we offered in 2016, so we do have an out if after 2 years we see a significant increase, yeah.
Yep. Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. You're hopefully going to offer this to the municipality to join in this tendering? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and through you. That's correct. Yes, we offer to all the local tiers. Some do jump on, some do not, because the closer you are to Ottawa, the lower the shipping costs. So, but yeah, no, we will put it out. It'll be in the new year, so we'll get feedback before we go forward.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't point that out, but this is another one that County Council bunted back to us from last month's round. Anything further? So I believe what I've heard was that we're going to go with, which option is it? Option number one, that we go to tender on this. So do I need an amending? No, so we're just.
Well, yeah, no, the motion was vague in the beginning, yeah, but I think if you just confirm with the mover of the motion, who's Councillor Wilmer and Councillor Lynch, that they understand that they have moved to go with recommendation number one, okay. Then you could vote on that one.
Councillor Wilmer, do you acknowledge that you moved the motion to recommend option number one going for tender?
Yes, I agree with going with recommendation number one.
Okay, that's clear. Okay. So all those in favor? And that is carried. I would now...
Thank you, Chair. That concludes the operations report.
Okay. So now I would entertain a motion to approve the report as a whole. Moved by Councillor Proctor, seconded by Councillor Watt. Anything further? Seeing none, all those in favor, and that is carried. And any new business for us this afternoon? Seeing none. I don't have a closed meeting on paper at this time. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor McKenzie, seconded by Councillor Wilmer. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to the County Council meeting at the end of the month.